this is the other half recipe. I didn't realize that the first hop addition was at 5 minutes.
Uh-oh.
So I just added it at 60. So that means it's going to be a West. I made my own version.
See, you know what, John, that's fine with me because a lot of times, even when I make like New England style IPAs, I still do a 60-minute addition because like I just find if I only do late addition or cold side hops, it's not, I want some bitterness. I want some balance.
Agree with that. I totally agree with the fact that it's missing that initial, well, the way I look at beers, when you put it in your mouth, you get the first hop addition, and then the other hop additions come out. So if you get just a malt, there's something missing in the travel that you're doing, in the actual travel of the beer.
John, don't worry. Anne Riley just told that that's the point of it. That they want everyone to do their own spin on the recipe.
Yeah, but they're supposed to think about it.
Mistake or not, I mean, it's still a spin.
Just lie and say it was a choice. It's fine.
That was a choice.
I meant to do that. Actually, it was a choice because the recipe called for Columbus at 5 minutes now, I realized. And I was like, well, yeah, I'm just going to use Cascade. But I thought I was using it as bittering hop. And I thought there was something wrong with the other half having a bittering hop in there. But it's going to be fine. It's beer. There's nothing that's going to happen bad. So
relax, don't worry, have a homebrew.
I've heard that before.
So have I. It's somebody smart said it once.
I've been watching you guys all day, by the way. I've been watching you since 9 o'clock this morning.
That's dedication.
Yeah.
I think I woke up. I mean, I'm a night owl. I work in the service industry, and I tend to stay up late and sleep late. And COVID has not affected that. Like I still stay up late and sleep late. But I set my alarm for 9 o'clock today. And I think I rolled out of bed and started watching around 9:15, 9:20. I was pouring myself a cup of coffee and watching. So I've been with it for about 10 hours now, I guess.
Awesome. Yeah, I got up this morning about 8:30. I signed on, and then I had to make breakfast. But then I came to work. I got to work about 10, and I've had it on all day since working. I was basically listening to you guys all day. And I wanted trivia at the first one.
Hey, all right.
And then I did
checks in the mail.
Thanks. So yeah, so it's been fun. I love this. I think this is such a great idea. I think you guys have been pulling it off really, really well. It's been fun. It's been a very cool thing. I've been telling everybody about it.
So John, tell us when did you start homebrewing?
Yeek. I started homebrewing in 1992, actually, which, I was 5 years old. And I started
You're younger than me?
I was exactly 5.
You're 5 in 1992?
I was 5.
I was 10.
There's a picture of me. There's a picture of me on our Facebook page of me brewing around 1994. I have hair down to here. It's multicolored. I'm doing this. Yeah. So the origin story of my homebrewing was it goes back to 1987. I went to London. I was married at the time, and I went. My ex-wife and I went to London. It was the first time in Europe, and I didn't really like beer that much. Growing up, you drank Bud. It was all right. It didn't do anything. It made you drunk. Like it wasn't a thing. It was just something else to drink. And we went to London, and at that time, I had first discovered Bailey's Irish Cream, which I thought was the most delicious thing in the world. And we went to a pub, and I ordered one. I ordered a Bailey's Irish Cream, and the bartender was like, "No way, Unc, you are not going to drink this." And I was like, "Oh, no, that's what I want." He's like, "No, you're going to have a proper English pint." And I said, "That's, I don't like beer." And I'll never forget this. I get chills thinking about it. He gave me a hand-pulled bitter and, pushed it across to me and said, "Try that." And I drank it, and like angels just went, whoa. It was amazing. It was just, I was like, "You guys drink this all the time?" And he was like, "Yeah, you Yankees, you don't know anything." So when we came back to New York, I looked for that style. I had never heard of a bitter. you know, everything was just a German lagers here. I didn't even know what that was. It was just Bud. I thought that's what beer was, and a lot of people think that. And there used to be a brewery called the Manhattan Brewing Company, and they had an English bitter. And we went and we got it, and it was good, but it wasn't England, you know. And so I didn't know what to do. You know, I didn't know how to get good beer. I tried everything. And then around 92, I flew out to California, and I visited a friend of mine out there, and we went to a brew fest. It was like a beer festival, and there were 5 breweries, or 5 local breweries, and I was blown away. This is in the Silicon Valley, that there were 5 places that made beer. And one of them was Pete's Wicked Ale, I remember that. And there was also Sierra Nevada. And I was just blown away. I was like, wow, this is some good beer. I know I like good beer. And my friend said, well, you know, you can make your own. And I was like, no way. He's like, no, you can. I've heard about it. I'm pretty sure you can brew beer. So he took me to Homebrew Shop, and I got Charlie's book, The Complete Joy of Homebrewing.
Yeah.
And I lived in Pennsylvania at the time. And so my buddy got it too, and he started homebrewing. And I moved back to Pennsylvania, and I had a basement and stuff, and it was all extract. I mean, it was hopped extract with a little thing of yeast. You were lucky to find this stuff, but it was the biggest joy to be able to make beer. It was just the most beautiful thing. And my buddy was doing it also in California, and we would sometimes send bottles back and forth. And so I just continued, you know, I continued brewing. There was no internet, you know, I learned what I could as much as I could. But fast forward, I moved to New York City in 2001, and I'm still brewing. My brewing's pretty good, but it's still not that much available to people. And so I'm buying stuff on Northern Brewer. Northern Brewer, you know, not gonna say anything about competitors, but especially back then, they were a pain in the ass. I don't know if they're still like this, but you had to buy a pound of everything. So if I was making a stout, I had to buy a pound of roast barley. I had to buy a pound of chocolate malt. And then now I had to make like 4, I was making 2.5 gallon batches. I had to make like 4 beers that were stouts, right? So a friend of mine said, a guy who I met was like, I'm a home brewer too. I'm like, holy shit, that's great, wow. And he said, there's this place in Brooklyn that is a homebrew shop, Brooklyn Homebrew. I'm like, you're kidding. That sounds great. And he gave me their card back then, was a piece of paper with their address on it. And I don't know if you guys have ever been there, but when they opened, they were out of their house. They had like it was in Sunset Park. They had like a brownstone, and the front part was their homebrew shop. And I could buy stuff by increments. I could come in with
Where is this again?
Brooklyn Homebrew. They were the first homebrew shop in like 15 years in New York City. You know, they've been gone for a while.
I actually have so real quickly, I have a story. Brooklyn Homebrew is the reason I found you, John. It was 2014. I was brewing for a wedding. My good friends were getting married, and for a wedding gift, they'd asked me to brew them a beer. I was brewing 2 different beers for them, and I was cutting it kind of close. And Brooklyn Homebrew was my homebrew shop, and I was living in Cobble Hill at the time, and like I remember I went over to Brooklyn Homebrew to buy the ingredients, and there was a sign on their door that said they were moving, and that like they were temporarily closed because they were moving.
That's how you sound.
Yeah, and I was like, oh no, I need these ingredients today. And I remember it was June or July. It was hot as blazes. My phone was dying, and I was like, I need homebrew ingredients. Where do I go? And I Googled homebrew shop Brooklyn, and Bitter Esters showed up. And I said, okay, that's not too far away from here. And I ended up either walking or taking the train or whatever and going over. And I remember I walked in, I was sweaty and gross, and it was nice and air conditioned in there. And it was only you and Doug. There was nobody else in the shop. And I walked in the door, and you were just like, hi. You look like you could use a beer, and you like went over to whatever you had on tap, and you poured me a beer, and you handed it to me, and you helped me pick out my ingredients, and like you guys were so nice and so helpful, and I was like, this is it. This is my homebrew shop now, and I never went to Brooklyn Homebrew again. Nothing against them, they were fine. you know, and then unfortunately they went away, but like that was the day that Bitter Esters became my homebrew shop.
Well, the funny thing about Brooklyn Home, thank you. That's sweet to hear that. We're very community oriented. Doug and I love what we do. But the thing about Brooklyn Homebrew, we were like, oh, this can be done.
Yeah.
This can be done. So we'll also do it. We never were like, we'll be competitors. We were like, we will be more. And that'll be great. And we had no idea what we were doing, Doug and I. We were just like, Doug and I have known each other a long time. We used to make films together. We used to produce rock and roll shows together. He was in a band that I produced. We have a long history. And one day we said, let's open a homebrew shop. And we did. It was just another project because we knew that it could be something. And now seeing you guys, like seeing this, I could never anticipate this. Like we were just, and what we always do is we're just trying to stay open. Right, we just want to be in business, but we knew that being a community-oriented place was the thing to do. And in the past 10 years, the beer coming out of homebrewers has gone from, when I was brewing back then, it was okay, tasted like beer. Now, man, I get beer from you guys, I'm like, oh my God, this is like so good, it's so amazingly good. And all these breweries are opening, everything's changing. In the time that we've been open, everything has changed. All these breweries explode.
John, I want to make sure I get some of the chat questions in.
Sure. Oh, there's questions? Great.
Yes, there's a few. So one of them from Alex B is, John, do you have any stories about seeing Black Sabbath? And they also ask, what were the resources that you used to design the recipes back in the day, like early?
I have Black Sabbath stories, but I'm not going to tell them right now. Again, it was the book. It was Charlie's book, The Complete Joy of Homebrewing. And so later on in life, in the store, one of the things I wanted most was for Charlie to know that my business existed. And then it ended up that he came here twice, and he's friendly to us, and he's a great guy. And I said to him, Charlie, when I started brewing, it was just me and you. That was the resource. That was the only thing I had. It was the Bible.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I got John's book, John Palmer, I saw the whys. Charlie's the hows, and John was like, these are the whys. And that's when so they're yin and yang, and we work kind of off of both of them.
Nice.
Alex, next time I see you, I'll tell you my Black Sabbath stories.
Sick.
Another question we have from people is, Dave Curley said, John, I started brewing around the same time you did. Those were insane times. And I'm trying, and those were insane times to trying to find information ingredients. How did you do it?
So I was living in Pennsylvania. This is kind of a funny story. And I was living in the Pocono Mountains. There's a town called Nazareth near there. And there was a guy in Nazareth who sold homebrew supplies out of his garage. It's just a guy with a garage who would have two things on tap. And you would go in and you would drink beer while he fulfilled your order. And he loved it. And I don't remember his name or anything, but I remember he told me something wrong. He said that slower you mill the grain, the better it is. And he used to hand crank the grain really slow. So if you were doing 10 pounds of grain, it could take like an hour.
Oh my God.
And
that reminds me about what Brett brought out earlier.
It was hilarious, but he always had good beer on tap. I mean, there was some pretty good homebrewers in Pennsylvania. I met people in Pennsylvania that were doing homebrewing, but he was the guy, this guy in Nazareth. I don't know whatever happened to him.
Nice. And John, what was your career path before Bitters and Esters?
Career path, or what I did for a living? I've always been in graphic arts. I've always wanted to be a professional musician, but I'm glad I wasn't. My father was, but I'm glad I never actually did that. I was in graphic arts. I started working in photography. I just used to develop film and paper for photography for a long time. And then I was a printer for 23 years. I ran printing presses. And one of the reasons we opened the homebrew shop was because Douglas wanted me to stop running printing presses. He's like, you need another job, and, which is very sweet of him, and he was right. And he's a really sweet guy. I tried to get him to stay. He was here like right before this, but he had to go home to his daughter.
Yeah. Sherry asked us, did you have any examples of creating community to use? Oh, where did it go?
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry.
Brett.
That's my. She said, okay, hold on. She said, hold on. She said, do you have any examples of creating community to use as a goal or model for the shop?
Well, kind of. I've always been very community oriented with my friends. The swap was Doug's idea. We were part of a community through a band that I was in called Soy Dracula, which is where Doug and I met through a community of filmmakers called the Shallow Waste Bin Project. So we were always doing projects together. So Shallow Waste Bin was a film group. Soy Dracula was a band. Doug was in a band called Pile of Kittens that came out of Soy Dracula. So it's kind of the same sort of thing. And then when we opened the store, a lot of the people from that community actually gave us money. We opened the store without any bank loans. It was all from personal loans from friends.
Alex wants to know why we haven't seen a Homebrewsitions album release.
The old covers. I miss the Homebrewsitions so much. I text with them all the time. That's, for people who don't know, that's the band I'm in right now. It's all homebrewers. Actually, just about everyone in that band is a pro brewer now. But it's all homebrewers doing covers of classic rock songs and changing the words of being about brewing beer. And the last gig we did was at 18th Ward, and it was really good. We had a really good time. But then all this stuff happened, and I was thinking we could do a Zoom thing, but we're all too busy. The store's been open this whole time. And we've been fulfilling orders.
John, how has this whole thing affected your business? Would you say that it's hurt you, it's helped you, or it's been about the same? Like, how has it affected Bitter Esters?
It's changed the business model. That's the best way to kind of describe it, is that I don't know if it's hurting or helping, but we're fortunate because we're still open. And I have friends who own businesses on Washington Avenue that are really hurting. They're either been closed. I have a friend who owns a bar. He says $100,000 in debt. As soon as the thing closed, he just went into debt. He had to pay all his taxes and stuff. It's just a mess. So we've been paying our rent, paying our taxes. We're a grocery store. We're food handlers, so we never had to close, but we knew that we had to close to traffic. Like, we're just too small. And we're going to stay close to traffic for a while. We made a determination that until people can actually go into bars and hang out, like without separation, we're going to be close to traffic. Every day is a different day, but we're sustaining it. And you guys have been amazing for supporting us. We didn't know that people want to brew as much as they wanted to. We're working hard to fulfill everything. And we're getting a lot more customers. I would say 25% of what we're doing is new people learning how to brew because they said, well, now's the time to brew beer. So that's kind of great for the hobby. But, who knows? I mean, it's been day by day.
Under the current model, would you say that it's tough or easy to compete with online merchants?
I say that we're doing a little bit better. Because I order something from Amazon, it can take 2 weeks now. Like, it used to be next day, or, you would order it and it would just be in your hand. And we've been 24 to 36 hours at the worst as far as fulfilling something. And that's usually if we're really like swamped down. And it's just me and Doug and my girlfriend, Carla. That's it. And Carla's only working part-time. It's just me and Doug juggling this. And we're working our asses off, but we're getting stuff done. And one thing about my business, and not to brag, is that we're very open to people's requests. So you know, like online, you can order ounces and stuff, and we'll still talk to you. We'll still deal with you. And we're still doing these Zoom classes and stuff. We're still doing what we do. So I think, you know, we've had this online store for a long time. More people are using it now than ever. So.
Do you think when this is all over that everything will just go back to the way it was, or do you think this will sort of irrevocably change the business model?
My business model will be changed. I think it'll be changed for the better. I'm not sure if we're going to bring the brew on premises back. That's something we've been talking about not having anymore, even though people like it. It's expensive and difficult for us to maintain, and it's not the best thing for social distancing. So it'll be a while before we did it. I thought you meant like overall. I feel for a lot of the service industry people, the people that rely, like one of my friends, again, I was talking to him, he's like, I rely on people being stuffed inside a room. Like it's not when you go into a bar, it's not socially distant. So us, you know, we're really adaptive. We're adapting to this. So we'll adapt every day to whatever needs to be done. We will do what needs to be done. And that's great. That's actually a testament to mine and Douglas's friendship and mine and Carla's relationship, that we're, you know, we haven't killed each other yet.
I think that's true of a lot of people who are forced to spend all of their time together right now.
Mm-hmm.
We have another question from the chat. If you were releasing a 16-ounce can tomorrow, what would it be?
What kind of beer, or what would it be?
What beer would it be?
Yeah, what kind of a beer?
No, I have from our list of beers. I have a couple of favorites. I'm really partial to our Kolsch. It's called Kuhn Cathedral Kolsch. Is just such a drinkable, crushable beer. It comes out great every time. Like I'm a big fan of home brews that kind of just come out great, you know, without too much babying. I would definitely like to come out with the Kolsch. We have a great big IPA, a Northeast IPA called Pauline, named after my aunt. I would love to do that, just to release a beer named after my aunt. Yeah, I don't know, you know, all of them. I'd release all of them.
What, John, kind of along the same lines, like what is your favorite style of beer to brew?
To brew?
Yeah.
You know, brewing is pretty much the same with every beer. So it's more what's my favorite style to drink.
All right, I'll rephrase the question. What's your favorite style to drink?
Well, I would have made that Kolsch tonight with the class. That was my idea until I realized that this whole thing with you guys, that the all together made more sense in a small area with everything we're doing, right? Alex.
Alex.
So I really thought, let me make this beer. I haven't made it yet, and let's, you know, I love what you guys are doing. And it's a very proud moment for us here. I heard you guys talking about the start of the Bruminaries. We're just a seed, you know. We seeded what you guys are doing, and we had this idea of having the swap and having this community, and it worked. It worked so well that you've become this entity that I hope goes on forever. I joke with people that they're in New York. There's the Democratic Party, there's a Republican Party,
Yeah.
the Bruminaries, and then the Green Party. And I like one day to be like, you know, so Mayor Sherry is making an announcement today from the Bruminary Party, you know, or Governor Sherry, you know, just like I want to see you guys do this forever. I think I'm really proud. I'm proud of everything. What you're doing now, you didn't have to do this. You guys could have hung out and done nothing. You know, you could have done whatever, but you made all this effort and you did it really well. And I'm not just pulling the chains. It makes me very, very happy.
John, I wanna make sure we get to some Q&A questions. So Horton
Sure.
asks, what's a beer that's the lowest amount of calories and the highest amount of alcohol? So as a drinker, I know that that's a hard question, but I would say in addition to that, what's a beer with the lowest amount of calories and the highest amount of flavor?
Well, the lowest amount of calories and the highest amount of alcohol is vodka. That's
Yeah.
the beer you should drink is vodka. Highest amount of flavor. You know what I've been digging is 6 Point has a beer called Trail Haze. It's 100 calorie, big IPA. Alcohol's about 4.5, I think. And surprisingly, that it's so low calorie and really big flavor. That's a really nice session IPA. That's a really touchable one.
And sessionable beers are coming, they're coming up in flavor. Like, it's not like, a session means a lack of flavor or taste. Would you agree?
It's a session means drinking session, right? And it's an English thing where they were like 3% alcohol. So we call 5% session, right? Another thing is I like the smoked Helles style. Like, that's got a big amount of flavor. They don't have to be super high alcohol. They're not overly hopped. But they leave a nice flavor in your mouth, and they don't get you too crazy drunk.
Yeah. Christian also asks, if you can keep one thing from your shop, one thing, what would it be?
Oh, I'm looking around, and the first thing, there's two things, all right? There's going to be two. And I'm going to pull the chain a little bit. We won Homebrew Shop of the Year in 2019, right?
Well deserved.
And that was a big deal. That was, there's a lot of homebrew shops, and that was very exciting to win that nationally. But George and Rachel made this thing from our Instagram photos that makes our logo, which is really beautiful. I'm looking at it right now. And then Barry Wasser put together a whole bunch of just photos of like a collage of our time with quotes and stuff. And I look at it all the time. It's right behind our mill, and it always gets me. It's a really big deal. So those are the two things that I would keep, is those kind of presents from friends.
We're nearing the end of our interview, or we're at the end of our interview. I wanted to know, how can we support Bitters and Esters? What can we do to get your supplies?
How can you support us? You can go to bitteresters.com. Everything is pretty much online. We're open to answer any questions. You can take our Zoom classes. Zoom classes are a donation. So if you want to donate to a Zoom class, we're doing a recipe writing class in 2 weeks, and then we're going to have a yeast class online. So that's going to be a lot of fun. There is a video on how to use our website, which is kind of funny. That's on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. You guys have been incredibly supportive. It's been really great. So keep doing what you're doing. Support local all along. Like, if your restaurant is takeout, buy something tip heavy. If there's a bar, buy the alcohol and tip heavy. Like, this is the time to keep it going. And you guys have been doing it for us, and we really appreciate it. And bring us beer sometimes. That would be really cool. We love it when you bring us home.
Down the street, I'm going to bring you whatever I can. You know I do. I do.
So any more questions? I think that's going to do it for us, John. Thank you so much for joining us. I mean, like, there's no words that we can say to thank you enough for everything that you guys have done for us. You're the reason the Brewing Areas exist in the first place. And we're just so thrilled to have a homebrew community. I'll say that, like, yesterday, Scott, who had moved to California, was sort of telling a story about his local homebrew shop and how much he missed Bitter and Esters just because of all of the bullshit he was dealing with at his local homebrew shop. So, like, it really means a lot to us to have, like, not just a local homebrew shop, but like a local homebrew shop with, like, such knowledgeable and such like, you know, you guys you guys aren't just knowledgeable, you're also so enthusiastic and so supportive of the community, and like, I don't know, those are the kinds of people that you want running a homebrew shop, because it is such a community oriented hobby. So I mean,
And well, remember, the community makes it. The community makes the community. So it's all you guys. You know, the swaps that we do, those are it's such a great thing. Like, just, I will die with swaps all over me. That doesn't make any sense. But I mean, it's you guys. We're just the seed. We're just the place. I've always wanted to be CBGBs, you know, and so we're the CBGBs of homebrew.
you are the CBGB of homebrew, 100%.
You be.
I'm gonna keep watching you guys.
Thank you, John.
And hello, Colleen, if I don't see you.
Yeah, we're gonna bring her on in just a second here.
I'm gonna try to get up at 4 a.m. for Lars.
Oh, I know. I'm gonna.
I'll be right back, Brett.
I really want to see Lars.
I talked to him the other day. He's a cool dude. Yeah.
We were supposed to have him at our meeting last month.
I know. Oh, believe me, I know that.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
All right, John. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your brew day.
Thank you. Yeah.